What's the hardest prayer you've ever had to pray?
Whew. The hardest prayer I've ever had to pray. Whew. That would be the hardest prayer I ever had to pray would be me asking God to not let me give up. Um, I'm a very confident man, and everybody goes through things, but when everybody goes through things, sometimes, we God is always with us. So sometimes things can get really deep,
Yeah.
and we can struggle, and we can go through some very deep challenges, some dark challenges, and sometimes you want to give up. And for a confident man, just asking God to not let you give up is extremely humbling. So I would say that that's been my hardest prayer is just asking not to let me give up.
Not to let you give up. That's so valuable, so strong. If someone looked at your life right now, what is something you want them to know?
I would want them to know the difference between faith and hope. Um, Hope is there's still a little anxiousness within hope. You want something to happen, uh, and it's likely to happen, or it's not likely to happen. There's a bit of a probability to it. But when they look at my life, I would like them to know that faith is something different. It's something distinct from hope. Faith is a knowing. There is a confidence within faith, and
Yeah.
faith is constituted by a history of the relationship that you have with God, the divine. Particularly,
Yes, sir.
particularly, we all go through things. This is life. We all have storms, just like the weather. And we all have different seasons. So when somebody looks at my life, I would like them to know and to see that no matter what, because I know and understand and have the confidence that God has got me through other seasons, other storms. This too shall pass. And that's faith. Yes. Yeah. That's faith.
That's so good, man. That's so good. So you've accomplished so much in your life. What has been your greatest accomplishment?
I would say my greatest accomplishment is honestly becoming a father. Yeah, becoming a father, because when I became a father, something turns on inside of me. You know, um, it's something that is like it's innate inside of me. When I had to get up very early in the morning and walk my boy to school, you know, I mean very early. There's no struggle within me to get up and to get him dressed and to take him to school. I don't want to wake up at 6 or 5 o'clock in the morning. But when you're a father, something innate just turns on. So I would say, being a father has been my greatest accomplishment. The fact that I just kind of fell right into it, like, um, it was already within me. And I love that. I love that. In addition, I would say certainly my greatest accomplishment has been completing my PhD. That was an immense So when it comes to the PhD, I always say that, it wasn't that the work was hard. It was everything else surrounding it, when you're in a PhD program, you're functionally impoverished. And I come from, working a full-time job all the time, always having money. So number one, to sacrifice all that to accomplish something like getting a PhD was, again, I needed faith, and faith got me through. So, sacrificing so that I can do something bigger and better with my life was, of course, a great accomplishment. And I plan to do more. I plan to do much more.
Yeah. So let me ask you, if your son is 25 years old, he's a grown man, what is one thing that's intangible that you would love to leave him with?
I would want my son to know the importance of self forgiveness. You know, yeah, we in this life we all make mistakes. This is just fundamental to our human experience. But when we make mistakes, we don't have to become prisoners to those mistakes. You know, so there has to be a somewhat of a ritual that you go through where you self forgive, you talk to yourself, you reflect, and you forgive yourself. This is for me, it's extremely important because when he of course when he makes his mistakes, he needs to know that he's not a prisoner of that mistake also, and that he can do better, he can make better choices. So as long as God wakes you up another day, you always have another chance. Forgive yourself. If you hurt somebody, apologize, be accountable for who you are, but then move on.
So good. Oh, that's great. I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. So you can go back 10 years from now and you're looking back at your life right now. Do you regret anything? Do you want to change anything? Do you want to attempt something else? Your future self, looking back at your life right now.
Not at all. Not at all. Because I truly believe that if there was one small thing that I changed, things might be way different. And this path, and this path is not easy. It wasn't easy. Um, and it's not over. But I believe that if I changed one thing in my past in the last 10 years, things may look a way that I might not want them to be. At the end of the day, I'm still in control along with God. Um, I might not be where I want to be at the moment, but I know I'll be fine. And I'm going somewhere, regardless. So I wouldn't change anything. Of course, in the past, there are things that I could certainly change, but the time to live is now. The time to live and to make good on our choices and decisions and mistakes, good or bad, the time to deal with those is right now. So I wouldn't change one thing. I love who I am. I love where I'm going. And this is life. I'm living it.
So good. I love it. I love it. You've read so many books in your life, whether academically or for personal. And you're such a brain. You're such a master. You're so eloquent with words. What's one thing that you have learned from all these things that you've?
Yeah, so what immediately comes to mind is a beginning passage in James Allen As a Man Thinketh, the book. And when I first read this book, I was probably about 19 years old. When I first read this book, he begins by saying that a man's mind is likened to a garden. What seeds you put in that garden are up to you. If you plant good seeds, you will bear good fruit. If you plant bad seeds, you will certainly bear bad fruit. That passage right there changed my life. It helped me to think critically about the way I was thinking, where I was going, what I wanted to do. Um, just that small passage changed a lot for me, and it stuck with me. As you can see, I just quoted it without reading it, So that right there.
All right. So if you look at the final tree of your life, what seeds have you planted in your garden?
I think it's important to say that the tree is still growing and I'm still planting. You know, I'm still bearing fruit. And as I get older and more mature and seek more wisdom, the important thing is that you know we are a lot more critical and intentional about what we're planting. We all go through young adulthood, hopefully, adolescence, and we should get better in the way that we think about things. So far, the seeds that I've planted have got me to a pretty high level in this life so far. I'm thankful, but going forward, I want to be intentional. Well, not I don't want to, but I am going to be more intentional about you know focusing on relationship building, not just romantic, but building friendships and really cultivating love and it's going to be a lot less ego going forward and certainly more thinking about other people as I go forward. So those are some of the seeds that I'm planting right now, and certainly hoping and wishing that they'll bear good fruit for the rest of my life.
So good. You've traveled so many places. You've seen so many people. You've met a lot of people along your way. You've seen all these cultures. What's what's something that you've gathered throughout your journey?
The biggest thing for me is, and this is just my personal experience, the biggest thing that I've gathered is to stay open. Stay open. Um, in this life, particularly in the United States, for me, it was always important to be able to say no, because sometimes when you say yes to certain things, you're also saying no to yourself. And it was very important to cultivate the ability to say no early on. And I did that. I mastered that. But as I began to travel and meet people from all walks of life, all colors, shapes, size, everything, I had to say yes to myself. And I had to be open. And this is what other people taught me, be open, be flexible. There's a saying that the tree that doesn't bend breaks easily. It breaks easily because when a storm comes, it's too rigid. But if you're flexible, you can bend with the storm. So be flexible, be open, and the world is yours.
Mm, so good. My dog. All right, man. So, um, you, if someone could look into your thoughts in today, your current self, what are some thoughts you can share?
Hmm. Some thoughts that I could share. I would say that if somebody comparing to my thoughts, they would see a passing storm. They would see the clouds on their way out. The rain, all of it, the tornado is on its way out. And they may be a bit concerned because they see those dark clouds. but because they can see the horizon without the storm, there's good news there. There's good
Yeah,
news there.
that's great. Those storms, man. If you can, do you watch movies?
Now, I'm not a movie buff. I'm not.
You're not. You're not. Okay, but you're more of a book guy. Okay. I mean, maybe you already answered it, but let's see. If you could pick one book for any person to read, whether it's a man or a woman, what book is it that changed your life? Is it?
Okay, so can I choose two? All right, cool. So, um, first it would certainly be As a Man Thinketh. Now they have a gender neutral version, so but I would certainly recommend that book for anybody to read because it makes you focus on what kind of thoughts you're thinking, and it helps you to realize that you can be intentional about the thoughts that you're thinking. You know, um, so it will certainly be that book by James Allen. And then I think everybody has heard about this book. It would certainly be The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. The Alchemist is, I mean, I've given the book away probably 10 or 12 times. I've read it probably 100 times. It helps keep me straight. It really does.
I love that. I love those books. I haven't read As a Man Thinketh yet, but I'm definitely. I know you mentioned it to me before at the shop, and I gotta get back to it, man. Um, okay, so what would be one message from your life experience and everything that you are? One message to the world.
I like that question. I would say my message to the world would be to um, make sure you cultivate self love. Make sure you cultivate self love. I'm not going to say love yourself because it doesn't come, um, it's something that is built, it's something that is cultivated. Um, Cultivate self love because when you cultivate self love, you can learn your yeses and your nos, and that dignity will be there. But again, that's built. It's not given to you for free. Now, of course, our parents and our families are supposed to, you know, give us these things, but not everybody has the same resources that some people do. Some people don't have any parents. So, regardless of your situation, make sure you take time to love yourself. In fact, I would say that when I was a young man and I didn't feel the self love, I forgot what book it was, but I read this book and it specifically said if you don't feel self love, get in the mirror every morning and say I love myself 10 times a day for a whole month. And I'm telling you that worked. It really worked. So I would certainly say, make sure you take the time to be intentional about cultivating self love. It's extremely important.
I love that so much. That's so good. Someone in business, pursuing business, entrepreneurship. What's what's one piece of advice that you can give that you know can break the mold for a lot of these young entrepreneurs?
Um, I would say to always think big, but be based in reality. You know the saying, brother. You know the saying. Shoot for the stars and hope to hit the moon. That has to be in you. Like, don't just say that. I want that. That needs to be embodied. It needs to be internalized. Make sure you are always shooting for the stars and hope to hit the moon. I mean, that's if you hit the moon, that's still good. It's still a great thing. And also at the end of the day, make sure you believe in yourself. Now, what is important is for you to do your homework. Don't just start a business on vibes. Do your homework and be critical of the way that you're thinking about, the business that you want to begin and start. Look at the competition. What are they doing? What are they not doing? And this is, I really do appreciate this question because it reminds me of academia. Even in academia, when we research, we can't write a paper without knowing the lay of the land. What is the gap or the void in the literature? What will you be contributing to the academic market? So same thing in business. Make sure that you are actually contributing something to the market before you start. So do your homework is extremely important. Talk to people. Again, remain open. Be critical of your own thinking because you want to get a lot of the pushback. You want to attack the pushback that you may get before you even get there, so you can be ahead of the game. So that's what I would say.
Okay. All right. Foundationally, if you can gather faith, business, and creativity, what would those things be? One for faith, one for creativity, one for business, all in one. What's that foundation layout?
So ask it again, please.
So if you can give a foundational layout, young entrepreneur, on faith, business, and creativity, what would those things be? Is it hope in this, or trust in that, and then creativity, be loose, be fun, or business, shoot for the stars? What is that? Is that what would be that foundational bracket?
So what I would say is that
What are the pillars?
yes, yeah. So what I would say is that I wouldn't think about them in a siloed way as if they're separate. Now, they are distinct concepts. The concepts are distinct, yes, but I think it's important to think about them as concepts that are intertwined, interwoven, interlinked. They build on each other. You can't have one without the other because if you don't have one, then everything else will fall apart. So of course, faith. Again, that confidence in knowing that God will take care of you. Um, what was the other pillars you said?
You got faith, business, creativity. Is there a creativity market in entrepreneurship and business? And is there a faith? Is there are those pillars intertwined or can be intertwined?
They are intertwined. You can't have one without the other. Um, again, they should all work. They should all work together to get you to where you want to go. If we think about the pyramid, or a triangle, it's three sides, and you need every side to make a triangle. Um, so in that, huh?
That's correct.
Yeah. So in that case, the creativity is needed because the creativity is going to allow you, it's going to enable you to see what is really needed in the market. It's going to allow you to actually contribute something unique to the market. The faith is that's gonna that is your metaphysical gas tank. That's gonna keep you going throughout the whole entire process. Even when you approach these storms, when these storms come your way, that's gonna keep you going. And then the business, that is just fundamental and foundational. You need to have some kind of uh, uh, business skills, and these things can be built, from the ground. Make sure you read, talk to people, and just study, and then go. Don't get caught up in analysis paralysis. Make sure you actually make a move. Make sure you actually take a step out on faith before you see the whole staircase.
Martin Luther King, baby.
Real talk though, real talk.
That's it. That's it. All right, man. My last question to you is, you as a man, everything that you are, everything that you bring to the table, everything that you've experienced, what would you say is your purpose in life?
I know it sounds cliche, but I'm going to say it. I believe that my purpose is truly to serve people. I honestly believe that. When I help people smile, when I inspire people, Nothing else gives me more joy, honestly.
Wow.
And it's I figured that out a long time ago. And yeah, I believe my purpose is to serve people, to help people see their own light, to help people see the God within them, I know that.
Wow. Wow. That's so good, man.
Dude, I just want to say this, man. Obviously, give you your flowers, bro. I am so proud of the man that you are, that you've been, and that you will be. I love the father that you are because you bring such strength and love towards that, and man, your heart is pure. You have full of intentions. You have a world and a spirit that carries not only intellect but wisdom, and you just truly love people, man. Obviously we've had this relationship for many, many years, and I'm thankful for you. Even across the globe, we've been able to share time and get on these FaceTime, and I love that. I love that. I love you. I love everything that you're doing, everything that you're gonna accomplish. And God is good, and He's with you. He loves you, and that's it.
I want to leave you with this. Um, the last thing I heard is that the only goalpost, goalpost,
Yes.
the only goalpost, the only two goalposts that should remain in your life is that God is good and that you are so loved by Him.
Mm.
Everything that you do that goes in through that goalpost, you can dream safely, you can
Yes.
vision safely, you can
Yes.
wish safely, you can do safely because that's the goalpost of life right there. That He is good and you're so loved.
Right. Right. Yes. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. I love you so much, man. I'm proud of you. Let's keep going.